Hey there, everyone. What is going on? Lauren Sisler here with AL.com. Welcome into our Week 9. I know, hard to believe. Week 9 SEC Insider brought to you by All South Appliance. And today I'm hanging out at the showroom off of Lakeshore Parkway here of All South Appliance. Beautiful showroom, hanging out in the kitchen here. Might go cook me up some breakfast here in a minute. But first, we got to talk a little football, a little Auburn football. Tom Green joining me now to recap what was a crazy week. Typically, we do these insider shows on Mondays usually, and we're recapping a game. And we're not recapping a bye week, and we're not recapping the Mississippi State game that was supposed to happen, but due to COVID, things got shut down. And I think what's interesting there is that Mississippi State was really the team that went under that 53-person threshold, causing the game to be canceled. But then we later found out Auburn had its own fair share of COVID issues. Kind of give us the landscape of that, where things look and how things are looking into this game against Tennessee this week.
Yeah, it was certainly a bit of a turbulent week for Auburn. I mean, they went 7 straight weeks without reporting a positive case, dating back to the second week of September. So they were doing really good about just keeping the thing under control throughout the season. Then since the bye week, they had a cluster of cases. First, they had 9 players and 3 staff members test positive. A couple days later, they had a 10th player test positive. They had another 10 or so players forced into a 14-day quarantine due to contact tracing. And they really just had to shut things down for a few days on campus there. They went without practice, without workouts for a few days. Wednesday was their last positive test. Thursday, they returned clean results. And, got the clearance from Team Dr. Michael Goodlett to, start easing back into things. So they had player workouts on Thursday and then practice Friday, Saturday, and Sunday before taking an off day yesterday and beginning preparation for Tennessee today.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, also worth noting the SEC, and I don't think this will necessarily impact Auburn, but it's kind of interesting that the SEC basically released after this upcoming week, obviously Auburn at Tennessee, that essentially makeup games can be held and they might switch up the opponents. Again, with the Bowl Cup and then Texas A&M being Auburn's last game. That rule shouldn't affect Auburn, do you think, at this point? Nothing's been indicated that they may switch up their opponent. What are your thoughts kind of on that ruling and how that may impact some teams and maybe be a disservice to others potentially in terms of preparation?
Yeah, I mean, we haven't gotten any indication that that's really going to impact Auburn's schedule right now. The only thing that we do know is that Mississippi State game has been, tentatively rescheduled for December 12th, that week after the end of the regular season, but before the SEC championship game. But yeah, that's really all it is. Auburn right now, they're just focused on preparing for Tennessee this weekend, and then back-to-back games against a couple of top 5 teams in Alabama and Texas A&M before rounding out the season with Mississippi State.
All right, so let's get into that game real quick as we kind of highlight the Auburn-Tennessee game. They're on the road this year, and of course, if you remember last year, Tennessee coming to the Plains, beating Auburn 30-24, certainly not the way things, Auburn had hoped they would go. And then, of course, Auburn dealing with its own fair share of issues. We talked about the COVID stuff, but, what's interesting is Auburn was starting to kind of hit that upward trajectory, really showing some strides, and obviously the win that they got on the road against Ole Miss, and then obviously back at home getting a win against LSU. And we started seeing some really positive things, some positive momentum. So how do you think that carries over against Tennessee, and what does that matchup look like to you on the road?
Yeah, Auburn really, it was looking forward to its bye week after that LSU win. It had been a long 12 weeks. You had the 6-week regular season followed by 6 straight SEC games. You had some guys dealing with some injuries like Jamie Sherwood and Shedrick Jackson. KJ Britt's obviously still out. So, the bye week came at a good time for Auburn to just kind of rest up and, get ready for that final stretch of the season. And then last week kind of came as a surprise. They're going back-to-back weeks without a game. It's the first time that they've gone, 21 days between regular season games since the 1983 season when, there were 21 days between the Georgia game and the Iron Bowl that year. So it's just not something that they're used to. Certainly there's going to be, some rust to shake off, try to get back into a rhythm and get everybody back on the same page, especially after having to shut down practices for a few days. So so this is a opportunity that Auburn's looking for. They're eager to get back on the field, and to do it against a Tennessee team that, like you said, beat them a couple of years ago. A lot of these guys played in that game, and they're going to look forward to that opportunity to kind of redeem themselves against the Tennessee team that's just been struggling the last month.
Yeah, no doubt. And I should correct myself. Tennessee at Auburn. I had that kind of backwards. And obviously, to your point, I think that there is sort of that bitter taste because that was a game that Auburn was supposed to win a couple years ago, and then things didn't obviously work out. So that game kicking off 6 p.m. ESPN. And just as we kind of wrap things up, what is one thing that you're looking forward to most from this Auburn football team, whether it's offense or defense, against this Tennessee team that you think will help to carry them over and give them some of that momentum as they get ready for the Iron Bowl? I know they're not looking ahead at the Iron Bowl, but what is something you want to see from this Auburn team to say, hey, you know what, like they've taken that next step. This could really pay dividends when they take on a much tougher opponent in Alabama?
Well, I think there's two things really that you want to see this weekend. You want to see the offense kind of pick up where it left off against LSU. The offense really hit that low point in that loss to South Carolina when Bo Nix had those 3 interceptions that led to 21 points. But in the 2 games since, he's been really, really steady. He's had probably 2 of the best games of his career, and the offense is starting to look a lot like what Chad Morris expected it to look like when he came here. So you want to see that offense kind of get back into the rhythm that we saw a few weeks ago. And then defensively, you want to see that pass rush continue to evolve and really affect Jarrett Guarantano or whoever Tennessee starts at quarterback, because they have their own quarterback issues, and if they can force Tennessee into some mistakes and just pick up where they left off in that LSU game, I think that'll give them a lot of confidence heading into that Alabama game against a really, really, really good Alabama offense.
All right. Thanks so much, Tom Green. We appreciate you as always. Hope you stay safe out there and enjoy the weekend. I'm Lauren Sisler, and we want to thank our sponsors, our proud sponsors, All South Appliance, proud sponsor of SEC Insider, inviting you to visit us online at myallsouth.com or at any one of our showrooms. I'm here at the Lakeshore location in Birmingham, as I said. And they've got several showrooms across Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida. So come check them out.